Hi guys, the cover-up, otherwise known as the superinjunction, over the leaking of data of Afghans who had either worked directly or indirectly for the British forces in Afghanistan prior to the takeover of the Taliban, is continuing to dog the Labour government. But the people who started the injunction, who imposed it first of all, the Conservatives, tend to be wiping their hands of the situation. Now, Mel Stride here was interviewed about this, and he claims to have no knowledge of what happened. Have a listen.
Which continues to dominate the headlines, the front pages this morning. The fact that when you were in government, and the Conservatives were in government, an MOD official accidentally leaked data about thousands of Afghans, which means that they have had to be moved to the UK under a secret scheme. Secret because your government chose to put a superinjunction in place which banned the reporting of it. I guess you were part of that government, so you must have known about this, even if we, the public, weren't allowed to.
Well, no, I think those that knew about what happened was a very, very small group. By the very nature of a superinjunction, that's how it works. And
some of it was on Facebook, wasn't it?
Well, the actual leak, I believe, which of this data that happened back in February 2022 did end up then being referred to on Facebook, that triggered the government's action. And let's be clear, John, exactly why this happened. We had up to 100,000 Afghans who would have been very vulnerable to reprisals from the Taliban, murder, torture, etc., had that information got into their hands. Now, we don't know whether it did or it didn't, but it was incumbent on the government at the time to clearly minimise the chance of that happening. And the most effective way of doing that was a superinjunction, meaning that that information, the fact there'd been a leak, wouldn't actually be out there. Now, that was something that was carried on by the current government as well, as it happens. But that was the reason why those things happen. But no, it wouldn't have been widely known, and certainly I knew nothing about it until yesterday.
We can hear from the current Labour Defence Secretary.
So he didn't know anything about it. Look, and that's possible. It's possible that Mel Stride did not know anything about it because it was not discussed at cabinet meetings. But who did know about it? Ben Wallace was, of course, the Defence Secretary at the time. Now, he's no longer an MP, so I don't know if we're going to hear from him. Boris Johnson was the Prime Minister at the time. He should have known about it. If he didn't, that would have been a serious problem. So it's strange how Boris Johnson is extremely silent at the moment. Somebody who likes to talk a lot isn't saying a word about this. Liz Truss was the Prime Minister during this saga as well, so she should have known. And of course, Rishi Sunak was the Prime Minister after that. So those individuals probably knew about this, and they're not being asked about it. So I think Ben Wallace needs to answer questions, Boris Johnson needs to, Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak. Now, what Mel Stride, of course, is trying to do is trying to link the current government to this. While they upheld this superinjunction, they have, of course, removed it now. I think they should have removed it immediately, because what it does is, as was pointed out, it creates a cover-up. Now, who is going to benefit from this cover-up? Nigel frigging Farage, because Farage is going to say, well, you know, if I was in charge, I wouldn't have had this cover-up. This is just the Tories and Labour working together. There's no difference between them. You need a new government. You need Reform UK. We will be transparent. We will not be like the Tories. We will not be like Labour. The Defence Secretary has said that the bar for new superinjunctions will be set really high, but it will be still a tool that the government will use. Now, these should all be discussed in Parliament. What is the point in having a Parliament if government does things behind the scenes? This went on for 2 years. So it was a long time to maintain a superinjunction, which meant that journalists were not allowed to report on it, even though they knew about it. So this has to change. You need to have transparency in government, and you need to discuss these things in Parliament. Because if you don't, it erodes trust with the public, and it helps the likes of Nigel Farage. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.